On print.
And we are live.
All right, I want to welcome everybody to the Strategic Planning Committee meeting on 4/13/21. It's 10:34 a.m. Calling the meeting to order. We have no presentation, so we're going to move right to the action items. Val, if you want to take over.
Good morning, Dr. Halloran, Director Stone, and members of the public. We will move right into the agenda with the passengers amenities presentation from Mr. Lenny Cooksey.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Actually, the passengers amenities item that we're bringing forward, really just recommending that we, for approval to exhaust the remaining balance of funds that on a 5307 from 2019. We actually have $84,000. Of course, at 80% and 20% match of that, we can take out of our SPLOTS funds. And this is really to really allow us to replace benches, shelters, trash cans, stuff that's deteriorating and or had some things that have been destroyed by accidents. So this will really kind of put us back, beef our levels up of what we currently have in stock. So we can go ahead and get those things done. The great thing about this, it's money on the table. The grant had been amended, so it cost us nothing, and we already have our quotes and our manufacturer, which we have been using. So this one's all pretty much ready to go. So I'm just asking for you to consider this one.
I have a question.
Yes.
This does not include any new shelters, is that correct?
Actually, it will.
Okay.
It will, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Because we desperately need some sort of out in the unincorporated parts of Chatham County. I mean, I know the ridership is not as populated, but I see people standing, next to the pole, and it's with no trees or anything. And I'd be happy to give you some locations that I think that could benefit from some type of shelter.
Yeah, that would be great. I know prior to me coming here, they had done a study or at least have a list of bus stops that qualify for those shelters. So what we're purchasing will kind of go into what we currently have. And then on the planning side, Brand is pretty well aware of where we need those, but sure, absolutely. If you could provide that as well.
I'd be happy to. I'll take the time. I'll take the time to ride around and make notations of yes, where I see people standing when the weather's pretty bad.
Sure, absolutely. Be glad to receive that. That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. But that's all I have on this one. So nothing like money on the table that we can capture. So we're going to go ahead and move forward and try to get that done.
Okay. Thank you, Lenny.
If I'm not mistaken, I think didn't Steve Boatwright do a whole list of priority replacements on those? Because I know we still have a couple of those sombreros out there. Particularly, I know one on Mall Boulevard, and I can't think of the name of the street. By Waters.
Join the meeting.
There is
that's
by an couple of apartment complex in South University there on the northbound side. There's still a sombrero, which I thought we had gotten rid of all those. But even if we get the materials in to replace down the road, we just have to spend it before June 30th. Is that the point for this?
Actually, we have to spend this before December 31st of this year.
Okay, so even if we order the supplies, we can use them as needed.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Even out in the areas where there are no shelters, we'll take the sombreros.
Yeah, that's true, because I don't think you need a pad for those, do we? Do we have to put a concrete pad for a sombrero?
Yeah, that I would need to, I'd have to track that information down.
Yeah, because that just gets driven into the ground. I don't think it needs to have the fasteners for the bolts to hold it down. Gotcha. So yeah, maybe we could flip them out. That's a great idea, Helen. We can just repaint them and ship them out to the I know there's none on 17 going south of, so any out there would be nice, especially by the shopping mall where the Kroger is.
Mhm.
I made a note of all those things that you just mentioned. So we'll compare that to the current list and go from there.
Yeah, because we all see different spots when we ride around town where
Right.
certain things. I go up Waters to my doctor's and I see that sombrero sitting there.
Tabitha.
Got you.
Join the meeting.
Morning, Tab. I don't see you up there yet. There she is. We just did passenger amenities tab on the agenda and there were no presentations. So we're moving along with the consent agenda.
Okay, we can move on with Ms. Gloria Royal to present the finance consultant contracts change order.
Good morning. This change order is to bring before the board the approval of expenses for consultant Ray Michelle Group in order to continue to assisting with the budget preparation and presentation. We are approaching the $20,000 mark, and we don't want to exceed that without getting board approval. Currently, paid to date invoices total $15,000, and the last invoice paid was March 19th. So we just wanted to bring it before the board to get approval so that we won't exceed the interim CEO's approval amount.
Have we got a date on that or is it open-ended? Because open-ended, it's fine with me.
As far as the extension period, sir?
Yeah, was there a date on the contract?
I would have to go back to look at the actual contract. We were hoping that these services could at least run through July 31st to make sure that we have the budget approved and everything is in place.
Absolutely, I'm fine with that. I know
Yes.
Helen will be too, and Tabitha. Jeray's done a heck of a lot for us in the last few months to get this budget ready.
Yes, the main thought was to at least
Along
have
with
our
Gloria
board.
and Janice too. So
Yes.
let's not forget they did 90% of the work.
Okay.
But
Any
yes,
questions for Ms. Royal about that? Okay, well, we'll ask Brandeis to come forward. She has the next two topics
Yes.
with the emission vehicle program and also the remix renewal. Brand.
Morning. Thanks, Ms.
Absolutely.
So the first item that's mine is the low and no emissions vehicle program that the FTA put out for FY21. We've applied for this grant a couple times now. In fact, the last many years, the last, I want to say 5 at least. And we've actually got funding. We were granted this application in 2018 and 2020. So we asked for a similar package that we have asked for in the past. We asked for 3 electric buses plus the charging stations. We asked for some en route charging stations as well. And then the architecture that goes with. And so our initial project budget, the total project is 3.9 million. So we were asking for 3.1 million from the federal government, and that would give us a 20% local match of 800,000. We also gave them the option to scale down this project. I think there's 180 million this year, and certainly this is a very competitive grant program. So we always want to give them the option to scale down into a smaller program for us. So we gave them a couple other options, one that removed the opportunity charging stations, one that reduced down to 2 zero emission buses, and one that reduced down to 1 zero emission bus. So the smallest option in our budgets would be a $1.9 million project. project, that's 1.5 million federal money, and that would be about 400,000 with the cap match. And this was actually due yesterday, so I submitted it in plenty of time. In the past, I will say, I've been working on this at home last year, certainly, and this year it was 450, and I was ready to hit the submit button, which was super exciting.
Good news, good news.
Thank you. The next item, did anybody have any questions on that one before I move on to the next one?
No, grant money. I don't know who would know. How many of are we taking other buses offline and disposing of them as we bring in the electrics?
We are.
We're going to do it one vehicle at a time, so it won't be a mass giveaway.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen that upgraded TAM plan. Is that in the TAM? I keep forgetting which plan that's in. What's going out next?
Yeah, that would be in the TAM plan. We have meetings once a month for the TAM committee. And just as an FYI, our TAM plan, we're planning on updating it officially this summer. So June or July, you'll see an update of that plan. It's not required. It is actually FTA requires that we update it every 3 years, but we just want to make sure that it's up to date as often as we change things. So you'll see that.
Yeah, and they'll be starting there pretty early in 2023 or 2 for their next triennial. I think they're going to be in early from what I heard because of some of the things that we had going on.
We'll get ready for it. We'll continue to get ready for it.
It never stops, really. Every 3 years, by the time you get out of one and correct what they suggest, it's back to the next one. But we've been pretty lucky. We haven't been too heavily damaged by their reports. That's good news too.
The next item,
I'll stop talking.
the next item on the agenda is the Remix software renewal. This software you've seen before, it's $27,000, and we do have this in our contract services budget for FY21. In the past, we have gotten MPO funding for this program, and this year we did not get that funding. I will tell you that we have put it in the paperwork for 2013 or 2023 already, so we don't miss it next year. So I have been in communication with the MPO, and so again, this is just a basic software annual subscription that's $27,000.
See, are there any questions for Bren?
I would just say, can we just get a quick note on what that actually covers?
Absolutely.
Because we keep hearing it, but there's so many contracts, I know I forget what they're for.
So the great thing about Remix is it does a lot of cool things for us. It works on anytime we have a route change, it will help tremendously in our Title VI analysis. Now, just as an aside, it doesn't do fare change Title VI analysis, but it does do route changes, which is a big help. It also allows us to look when we're applying for grants and see what census tracts are surrounding what routes. And so we can say, we are in a low to moderate income, or we are in a minority district because here's the data, and we can show up-to-date census tract information automatically in our maps, which is great. It also lets us draft new route scenarios. So for example, we used it when looking at the DOT shuttle and looking at reorganizing where the downtown shuttle would go. We could easily put it into Remix and show the city basic hours and time, and then go from there with tweaking on screen, which was great.
Brenda, it actually does do turn-by-turn directions and things such as that as well.
Yes. Yeah. So when we have detours, thank you, Ms. Val. When we have detours and are building a new route. It does turn-by-turn directions for us. And I was trying to remember, there's one more new thing that I haven't used yet. When we have public meetings, you can actually put a map up on our website or in a link with an email or whatnot, and folks can make comments right in the map, which is a really neat feature. I think that we're going to use a lot when we continue to have public input, especially since a lot of that public input right now is virtual. So it's a really neat tool and has lots of cool features. My team has been learning more every time. I feel like every time we call Remix, they tell us about another new feature that they've just come out with. So it's a really cool program.
Excellent. And especially if we're talking about expansion, it'll be nice to have those maps available.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you, Bren.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move right on into the security contract, the temporary security contract that Mr. Hall will present.
Good morning. I just want to make sure everyone is aware of what we have planned with the change in the new security posture here at CAT. We're looking at moving temporarily to put another security provider in place until the RFP can be issued. That vendor is going to be Sun States Security. I've been meeting with them for a little over a month now. They are poised to go online the 16th of this month, which is Friday, pending the approval of their temporary service agreement. Right now, we're looking at from the 16th of this month to the 1st of May, just providing 24-hour coverage at the ITC, and then moving into a 24-hour coverage at both locations on May the 1st. They're actually hiring their officers specifically for the CAT contract. They will be developing their own specific post orders for our properties. And we're looking at being able to put together or have that the process of the RFP completed by June. So we should know who will be the permanent security provider by June or July. Are there any questions specific to the proposed temporary service agreement with Sun States?
Charles, may I add that this is on a month-to-month basis until the RFP is issued.
Correct. It is month to month.
Mm-hmm.
And when are we going to issue the RFP? I think I missed that.
Yes, we're working on getting that released now, actually.
Okay. Because I know we're renewing our contract with Greyhound over at the ITC, and if it's going to be a significant increase in security costs, then we have to make sure we get that into their contract.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes, I've already spoken with Mr. Butler about that renewal at Greyhound, and he's looking into that situation. Of course, we know the value of downtown property is just skyrocketed. This was a 10-year contract that we entered into with Greyhound initially, but they do have an option to renew for a 5-year period. So Ty is looking over that contract.
And what is they have what, roughly 5,000 square feet? How much space do they actually have there in the ITC? It doesn't look like it's that much.
I was going to say, I don't think they have that much because
it's really just that little ticketing window there, right?
The ticketing window and the loading area where their passengers actually exit doors to the buses.
Those 3 parking slots behind there.
They have 3 buses.
I don't think, grossly increasing it would probably have them pull out if we did. And it really costs us nothing there. We have to have everything that's there already. Mm-hmm. We have to heat and cool the building. We need this lobby area. We need the security people. So
yes.
But if it's going to be, if we can put in an increase every year, year over year, and not make it a 5-year fix like I think we did with the 10-year.
Yes.
We have to think about that on every contract that we award out, that there has to be a cost of service increase. As a possibility of like up to 3% or, some number that protects us at least against inflationary factors, which they're talking about starting up again now that all this money is being spent by the Fed.
Mr. Butler and I did discuss some of those thoughts, and like I said, he is looking at some options to present to them.
Yeah, I don't want to lose them because that's everybody who gets off a Greyhound gets on something else generally.
Mhm.
If they, if they're going by bus, they might be busing and using our services out of the ITC. So you really don't want to cut a contract like that for a few bucks here and there.
Right.
All right, thank you, Charles.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome.
You don't have line of credit renewal.
No, no, that
All yours
would
if you want it.
I don't think he wants that, but that would be Gloria.
Okay, we're for the line of credit renewal, we're requesting that the board actually approve the renewal of the line of credit for fiscal year 2022. If approved, the new line will begin May 1st. Chatham Area Transit established this line of credit, I think, back in 2007. And we have been receiving board approval and Chatham County guarantee since 2014. So at this time, we want to request our board to once again approve the line of credit of $1.5 million.
Do we anticipate using it?
Well, Director Stone, we would hope that we wouldn't have to use it. Right now, we know that in reserves, we do have $4 million. We're not exactly where we need to be because we were hoping to have at least 3 months operating expenses there. So to say that we're anticipating using it, I want to say no, but will we have to use it? We may.
Okay,
We may have to.
thank
Is
you.
there any cost to us to have it?
Now, there is an interest rate. It's a floating interest rate. And it's a floating rate, 1 month, LIBOR 1.5. So we know that the interest is assessed after each month based on that fee.
But there's no, we don't have to pay them $1,000 to have the line of credit. It's just established.
Just the interest,
in
yes,
case of
sir.
need. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
we only pay when we use it.
That's correct.
Yeah. I know we've talked about this a lot over the past, and to me, and I think pretty sure Helen and Tabitha agree, who both have been commissioners, that it's a nice safety check, especially if it doesn't cost anything.
Mhm.
Right.
Because if we have to short-term money, it's probably 3 to 5 times that much. So, and we don't seem to have that same gap where we used to have in February and March when we were short on payroll and you take down the Wells Fargo under their minimum requirement, then it's worth borrowing at 1.5 than paying the charges to take our money and move it somewhere else and go under line of credit number, not line of credit, the minimum balance number that they require. Okay.
Mhm.
Gloria, you also doing a reserve policy?
No, that would be me.
Nope. We got to put names on here. Everybody's got a chance. Thanks, Gloria.
And
Who didn't we get in on here yet? Janice hasn't said anything yet. We may have to bring her in.
well, I placed this reserve policy on the agenda because it's just another commitment to stabilizing and sustaining the organization as a whole. Gloria mentioned that currently we have about $4 million set aside, and that's about maybe a month and a quarter of another month operating, but we want to move, as she said, to at least 90 days in reserve. So I'm asking the board to support this reserve policy. I'm making some edits to the policy, but I'm hoping to send it out to everybody today, if not tomorrow. I wanted some feedback from finance before I send it to the directors, to all of you. But I'm going to send this out tomorrow, if not today, so that you'll have time to review it before the board meeting on the 27th. But this just is another step toward CAT making that commitment to sustainability.
And I know the FTA would like to see 90 days. They don't require it at this point. So we're looking at 6.5 million as the 3 months. We're about 2.2 a month.
We'd like to see 3, Dr. O. We'd like to see 3. I mean, there are situations, I know this area is considered hurricane belt, if you will, but we know that there are other emergencies that we might incur. We have issues with cash flow, things like that. So we want to make sure that we're able to stand on our own. And this is a step in that direction.
And that's another spot where the line of credit would come in if we needed to, especially if we have to start moving everything from CAT Central.
Yes. I just would like to request that the board place this on the consent agenda for consideration during the regularly scheduled board meeting on the 27th.
Are you going to put a number requirement or just a general policy on?
Just a general policy. I'm thinking 30% of our expenditures and that's about
9.
3. Yeah. So as I said, I will send the policy to each member. If not today, definitely tomorrow to review.
Okay. Yeah, we've been trying and we got it. It took us how long, Helen, until we finally got a reserve? When Howard finally decided.
Yes.
And we started with like 285,000 at one point. We thought that was a good year. I think that was my first year on the board.
Well, we went from 285 to 1.6 in 2019. Yeah, 2020, beginning of 2020.
It's a slow process.
Yeah.
But we're being progressive and we're moving progressively. So that's a good thing.
Right.
Yes, it's definitely been fun to watch the changes go on that have got us into this position. Now, I know she's not planning on talking, but Jeray, could you just explain that chart that I had sent to the board members about the upcoming projects? It's pretty much what
are you
our
talking
committee.
about the capital projects budgets?
Yeah, that's basically what this committee is supposed to be planning for in the future. Mostly capital projects because we want to make sure they're funded.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, if we could go over that briefly, everybody has a copy of it. If they have any questions, they can ask. I mean, we've looked at it once before and.
Yeah, so the chart that was sent is it's the table 2 and the CEO proposed budget document that was provided to the board prior to the April 6th meeting. And the top portion is the needs identified by the different departments, primarily maintenance and mobility services. And then the bottom part, the carry forward, are projects that have already been approved, but we're moving forward into the next year because they're not complete.
And I'm assuming this is going to be approved by the board when we do the budget, that these projects need to be moved forward.
Yes.
Because I know we all have been in that parking lot outside of Gwinnett. And I think the idea of moving mobility to a separate location is something to definitely consider.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've been talking about this for quite some time in our meetings here internally. And we know that Bren and her staff and Steve as well, Steve Boatwright, who is our maintenance director, we are what word can I use? We are desperately seeking some options for real estate acquisition. I've spoken to the county and the city as well for properties that they might be able to donate to us, if you will, so that we can use that as a local match. So those kinds of discussions are ongoing. And we know there's a great need. And Steve has said so many times when he sees me, we're going to get that property, we're going to get that property, because it's a priority for me. I know it is definitely number one for me right now.
Yeah, because we're with 10 new vehicles and 10 new drivers and 10 new people looking to park. That is not an area, sadly, where street parking is a recommendation.
And then we want to consider our clients as well, Dr. O, because they're coming in. We want to have a one-stop shop where we can provide functional assessments and have a comfortable waiting area as well for them.
Yeah, and having everybody who's working in the same spot.
Yes, sir.
So when they have meetings and stuff, it'll be good. And of course, my favorite, solarizing, but we're going to have to wait till we get a grant fund for that. Someday we'll be, if we're showing our initiative by having the electric buses, then maybe they'll find some grant money to put solar in to actually supply the generator, if nothing else.
Did you know that we currently have solar panels in some of our bus stops?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're there. We just have to move a little bit further.
Yeah, I see them all over now on light posts in the middle of nowhere, so that there's lighting. They put a solar panel on it. So
that's right.
We'll have to put some on the sombreros. I was surprised to see Helen say she wants sombreros. We've all been talking about it's better than nothing. Yeah,
better than nothing at all.
Riding by and seeing people standing out in the pouring rain just tugs at your heart, saying, you know, we really have to do something better than that. Even if it's just
I agree.
A roof and no seating, just to protect from the elements, because it's always going to be a challenge to get amenities. Does anybody else have any old or new business? Boy, Jerry got out of there quickly.
I'm going to bring this up again. I really would love some research on this first mile, last mile concept. I think it's really important. And when we brought it up in Atlanta, our state legislature was very interested in that concept and would like to see CAT sort of think outside of just running buses. So I'm going to stress the importance of getting some information on that program.
Okay.
I know Bren and others have been looking at this for a couple of years now, ever since we got involved with the Let's Go. And it's
right.
I think our biggest
I'm not going to let it
quality.
go.
No, I don't blame you. We have, if we don't provide service, people aren't going to use us.
Right. But I think it would be a very efficient way to provide service.
Yes, especially areas that we don't serve with a full-size bus or any kind of vehicles. Where people are miles away.
We have been talking about this internally, and they're even spoken with a representative from Lyft who has offered that service to us as an option. So we are exploring it, and we will be able to get something back to you soon, Director Stone.
Thank you.
And it's not going to be electric scooters.
I don't think so.
No, I actually heard on the news the other day that MARTA had people walking up to a mile to get to bus stops when they were cut back on their service up there. So I don't think we have many people outside the half-mile barrier, because I think most of the people who would be negatively affected are already using paratransit. But I think Remix would actually give us that information. I know we had it for Let's Go, so it's in there somewhere in that whole pile of data that we have available. So maybe we could get, when we have time to get an idea of how many people are more than a quarter and half mile from our bus stops,
Right.
just for perspective to see, because last mile, first mile does not have to be everywhere. It can be, in just small
The
group areas, and the
unincorporated
cost
parts.
through, if we build it into one of those already existing services, it probably could be done for some kind of reasonable amount.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I think so.
We won't forget you, Alan.
Thank you.
Tab, did you have anything down there in the lower right? I'm not sure she can hear us on the phone connections. They're usually pretty bad. Well, I don't have anything else. Just the next meetings. Governance is next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. And then the board meeting on the 27th at 10.
Mhm.
And if there's no other business, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 11:10.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Helen, I did tell you we're not meeting for ad hoc, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know you were
Thank you.
muted. I thought I gave it to you.
Right. But just let me know when we will.
Yeah, I'll call you. When is your commissioners meetings?
It's Friday.
So you're on the 16th and 30th this month, or did you do the 2nd and 16th?
No, it's the 16th and 30th of this month.
Okay, I'll make sure it doesn't interfere with those.
Thank you.
Beverly hasn't sent me that schedule where all the other meetings are that we can't interfere with.
Okay.
All right, have fun watering, Helen. We'll talk
Thank
to you
you.
later.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.